Hey guys, how's it going? Professor Shuckle here, your coach of the Dark Cave Dark Rise. Today, I'll be going over our Week 1 battle for AP Ascension, Season 3. Our opponents are the Columbus Cobalions, coached by TRowePrice. He's one of the staff for this league, as well as a good friend of mine. So I'll quickly go over the matchup first. As you recall from the draft analysis, our team consists of Mega Pidgeot, Latios, Mian Xiao, Reboot, Excadrill, Florges, Roselia, Tyranitar, Vikavolt, Vishivashi, and Cursla. The opponent's team consists of Raikou, Volcarona, Kyurem Black, Cramorant, Mega Venusaur, Metagross, Hitmontop. It says Alcremie here on the dock, but they actually had Passimian for the battle. They made a transaction which went into effect week 2, where they dropped Passimian for Alcremie, but they had Passimian for the fight versus us. Guzzlord, Palisane, and the Dottler, lastly. So just some quick thoughts on the matchup. Charm Black is scary, as usual. Dragon Dance is not allowed, but it does get Icicle Spear and Freeze Dry now, which is like really annoying. I do have Florges and T-Tar, which can kinda soft check it. But obviously with its huge attack stat, like a Life Orb set could be really threatening. Or even a Scarf set could clean if I don't position my sand very well. Volcarona, always a huge threat. It has access to boots now, so it doesn't even have to take 50% from rocks if it comes in. It can set up Quiver Dance pretty freely on like Florges and like a Scarf Reboot locked into Scarf Mian Xiao locked into close combat. Yeah, so definitely scary and have to look out for it. Metagross is also kind of really scary because I don't really have the best switches for it. Especially since as you'll see, I'm not taking Wishiwashi for it, so Metagross is kind of annoying. Passimian was also really annoying for the team as it gets coverage for Florges, making it impossible to switch into. As for my team, they don't have a fairy type on the team, like it was Passimian over Alcremie, so Latios' Draco Meteors are free. The only resist is Metagross, and Metagross still takes like 45% from Choice Specs Draco. So yeah, Latios is really good offensively here. Sand is really good as well. They do have pretty decent checks in Palisane and Hitmontop, which can come in to soft check it, but they're so pressured by Mega Pidgeot and Latios that Excadrill endgame is like a solid win con. Yeah, so let's go with the team that I brought for week 1. Starting off, we have Bird Jesus or Mega Pidgeot. For this matchup, I decided that Hurricane was not as spammable as I would have liked it to be, just because there was a Raikou there, which could eat hits pretty well and scare it out. So I decided to go with the sub-toxic rat. So if I substitute on something like Mega Venusaur or Palisane, which usually cannot touch this, I get behind a sub freely and I can toxic. And because of no guard, I can't miss toxic, and I get a toxic off on Raikou or like Kyurem Black or whatever that wants to switch in. Kyurem Black can still be scary because Scarf Icicle Spear would kill me. But yeah, and then Hurricane, just because the only thing that resisted it were Metagross and Raikou, and I had toxic for Raikou, and any chip on Metagross with Hurricane just freed up my Lati. So yeah, that's all I thought I needed. Next up, we have Excadrill with the Shuka Berry and Sandrush. Max attack Adamant. Didn't really need the speed because in Sand I think it was faster than everything except like Scarf Raikou. I'm running Stab plus Rock Slide and Sword Stance. I didn't run Rapid Spin because Palisane is a pretty good switch in for this if it's physically defensive, and so it would block Spin anyway. Earthquake and Iron Head are self-explanatory. They hit everything on his team. It doesn't hit Cramorant, so I put Rock Slide just in case if that thing decided to show up. Rock Slide was also nice for guaranteeing like the KO on Volcarona, and like if Volcarona came in on this outside of Sand, I would just click Rock Slide because Volcarona is so scary. and I could not let it to set up. Next up, we have Vikavolt with a Rocky helmet. It's pretty physically defensive. As I said, my team really doesn't deal with meta growth that well, especially because I'm not bringing Wishy-Washy. So Rocky helmet was just to switch into Meteor Mash and get chip on the meta growth and then get a slow volt switch out. I decided not to run Energy Ball just because he should scout for it on his Power Sand with it, and like he has Raikou or Mega Venusaur to go into, on which I can pretty safely volt switch and go into Mega Pidgeot or Excadrill. Air Slash was just so Volcarona didn't set up on me, but yeah. Next up, we have Tyranitar with Sandstream, of course, to support Excadrill. I put Choice Band on it. Initially, this was a defensive set meant to take on Kyurem with Wish support from Florges, with Smooth Rock, so that I had 8 turns of Sand instead of 5. But my friend suggested a Choice Band set to help with chipping Mega Venusaur and things, because his fighting types didn't have recovery, so they couldn't repeatedly come in and take crunches. So I'm running Rock Tomb, Stealth Rock, Crunch, and Earthquake. Stealth Rocks are good, but if he brings a Hitmontop, then he gets a free spin every time, because Hitmontop comes in on this pretty easily. Crunch is just nice stab, pretty strong. His only resists are the 2 fighting types and Guzzlord, but I don't expect Guzzlord to come. Rock Tomb is again just there for the Volcarona or lowering speed so I can be faster the next turn. Earthquake for like Raikou and Metagross, just another way of hitting them. Next up, we have Drop a Draco or Latios with Life Orb. Modest with almost max special attack and enough speed to outspeed Jolly Kyurem. It's running Stab, Draco Meteor, and Psyshock. Psyshock in case the Raikou was Calm Mind for some reason. Draco Meteor, as I said, he has no fairy, so this is pretty free. Draco Meteor his only resist is Metagross, and this still does like 40% to it if it's like max HP, I think. Roost for longevity, and I should be able to roost pretty freely on like the fighting types like Hitmontop or Mega Venusaur. Defog, just in case he brought Dottler and set up webs. As I said, he had a pretty reliable spin blocker in Power Sand, which stopped my Excadrill from spinning, so I just decided to run my own Defog. Lastly, I have Florges with Wish Protect. This is meant to support Vikavolt and Tyranitar mainly. It also helps with switches, making the switch into Pidgeot or Latios safer on Mega Venusaur if I have a Wish in the air. Wish Protect is also better since Synthesis only heals 25% in Sand. Moonblast is Stab, and Aromatherapy, just in case I get burnt or toxic on like Latios or Pidgeot. So yeah, let's jump into the battle and see how it goes. As you can see, he decides to bring a team of Power Sand, Raikou, Metagross, Mega Venusaur, Kyurem Black, and Hitmontop. As he didn't bring a Cramorant, he doesn't have an Earthquake switch. That is one thing to notice. His only Draco Meteor resist is the Metagross, as I said. His only Crunch resist is the Hitmontop. So yeah, things are looking pretty good for us offensively. As far as leads go, I thought Tyranitar was a pretty decent lead. It led off pretty well versus the first 5 members of his team. Hitmontop does come in pretty safely on it, but I had Vikavolt and Florges and Latios and Pidgeot to switch into Hitmontop. So I thought T-Tar was overall my best lead here, just to like scout what he wanted to lead, and if he led one of his 5, I could just get off a nice Bandit Crunch off. So yeah, as you see, I decide to lead off with T-Tar. He decides to lead off with Raikou. He actually doesn't show pressure, so showing his inner focus, which is interesting. So here, since he doesn't have pressure, he actually doesn't know if I'm Scarf or not at this point, because he cannot tell by the order of the abilities going if the speeds. So here, I don't like his best play is to just hard into Hitmontop just in case I'm Scarf and I click Crunch and do a lot of damage, because if he gives me damage on this, Pidgeot gets freed up really well. But he just goes for the Volt Switch, which I guess is fair. He doesn't scout for Scarf, which is okay. He gets a crit, which is a little unfortunate. It would have done like 14% because T-Tar has like amazing stats and it's further boosted by Sand. But not a big deal. I can always wish it back up with Florges if I need to. I just click Crunch here. I thought rocks were pointless because I knew the Hitmontop was coming in, and if I click rocks, he just got a free spin off. So, and I didn't really gain anything from it. Rather, I just decided to crunch and gauge what the investment on Hitmontop is. So I just click crunch here to get figure out the set. It does 26% after the Intimidate drop, which reveals to me that this is max HP, but it's not max physical defense. So he's probably running attack so that Mach Punch KOs like Excadrill from like half or something, which is interesting to note. Here I'm gonna switch out obviously because I don't want to lose my Sancer like turn 2. Here I decided not to go Florges, which is the most obvious switch, just because I expected Toxic coming in or like going to Pidgeot. So I felt like Vikavolt was fine because I didn't really care about HP on it. I just needed it to come in and get Rocky Helmet chip off on things like Metagross. So I just go Vikavolt here as he does go for Toxic, which is a fair play. Here I don't expect him to go hard Palossand, as I could just Energy Ball, which would do a lot of damage to this and take out one of his Excadrill checks and one of his T-Tar checks. And if he goes Palossand, he's also like weakening himself to Excadrill. So I expect him to go Raikou here, and thus I just click a Volt Switch so I get momentum. Yeah, as he does switch out and go straight into Raikou, I click a Volt Switch. I crit, kind of unfortunate, but I think it didn't matter in the long run. And here I can freely go Excadrill because I'm in Sand. He shouldn't be able to kill me. Even if he's Shuka, this Excadrill I think had a good chance of killing this Raikou. If it was it had to be max speed I think for the Laudi. So yeah, I just decided to click Earthquake. He has no flying type, so there's no reason not to, just to gauge if the damage on this Palossand. So that damage tells me he is physically defensive Palossand as expected, which means a Draco Meteor from Latios has a pretty good chance of killing this. I believe the roll was in my favor, and if it specs Lati, this dies, which is good to know. So his only Lati switch in is the Metagross. Here I just switch out expecting rocks and I go into Bird Jesus. Palossand's makeup Pidgeot is immune to Palossand's stab, so this was a pretty safe play. I didn't expect him to go for Toxic when rocks were really nice for chipping down my Pidgeot and my Vikavolt. So yeah, he does go for rocks. Here I just decide to get off a free sub as I expect him to switch out into Raikou, which is what I do. This also helps me scout if the Raikou was Scarf or not. So yeah, I get a free Toxic, revealing I'm faster, so I know that I can Toxic stall this thing if needed. He clicks Thunderbolt, which is fair. Now here, expecting a Volt Switch on my sub or Roost and going into Kyurem, I hard swap instead of trying to sub or Roost and go Florges. I did that so that he would not go into Kyurem and would instead bring out his Metagross. Now with this, I can first scout what he wants to do, and secondly I can go into Vikavolt and get some Rocky Helmet chip off on it, which is really nice. So yeah, I click Protect just to see what he wants to go for, because if he wants to go for Agility, I don't really want to give him a weakness policy boost in case he was that set. He shows Meteor Mash and I was like, cool, I can go Vikavolt here. He clicks Meteor Mash. Sorry about that. Yeah, he clicks Meteor Mash and does 21. So I think it was invested but not max attack, so he probably had bulk to take on Lati. He does get an attack raise, which is kind of unfortunate. And I think with the attack raise, he would need the same roll to kill me, but I just decided to go for a roost here. As he clicks protect, I'm not really sure why. I can't really hit this super effectively, and like I don't really switch into Metagross at all, so like a double on my end was gonna be rare. So yeah, I don't know, but it allowed me to roost off pretty safely. He goes for Zen, which is a fair play. Which is a fair play because it's neutral damage, and he does a lot. But he takes another round of Rocky Helmet and Volt Switch, which does 44 because Vikavolt is strong. And now that's gonna die to Lati Draco, so which is really good. Here I know he's not like max speed, so I just go into my Excadrill and click Earthquake. I was hoping for like a higher roll, like first roll it did 37, so I was hoping that that was a mid-low roll, and if that was the case I would be able to kill this, but it turns out like that was a higher roll, so I only get 35% this time, so I can't kill it with another Earthquake. Here I know he is going to go for Shore Up because he needs this healthy to beat Excadrill, and even if I Sword Stance here I would only do 70% the next turn. I do have my Sugar Berry intact, but I didn't really want to reveal it just in case the Kyurem was like Scarf with Earth Power. So I switch out into Lati thinking it was a free switch as he's not going to click Shadow Ball here. And as he does click Shore Up. Now here, the way I brought in my Lati so offensively, or so aggressively, should scream Specs, because he doesn't have a Fairy type. So Dracos are free, and I have got the chip I needed on Metagross. His Metagross is at 23%, and like it's not really switching in to take a hit from anything at this point. So, and he needs to preserve Palisand for Excadrill because his Hitmontop is not max HP, max defense, so it would die to 2 Earthquakes, and I'm still at full health on my Excadrill. So yeah, here I thought his best play was to sack Metagross, and thus I did decide not to click Draco here and just get my Defog off to help Pidgeot. Yeah, expecting him to switch into Metagross. But so I click Defog, but he stays in, which is really surprising because he was willing to lose one of his Excadrill checks when he had a perfect sack in Metagross, and he clicks Shadow Ball, which does 63, so like I think it had some investment, I'm not sure, but yeah, this play didn't make sense to me. I don't think this was his play at all when you had a 23% Metagross to sack. Yeah, so here I switch out obviously because I can't, even if I roost I can't take the next Shadow Ball, so I just go into Florges because he can't really touch me. As he goes up for his rocks again, I guess that was a pretty good play on his end because if I had Draco here and kill him, my Latios would be so weak that it would really struggle to get in again, and a Palisand for Latios trade at that point makes sense. The play before didn't make sense because if he lost this he would lose to Excadrill, but having made that play, the next play made sense, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Here he goes Venusaur as expected as I get up a Wish. Here I make a really bad play and go into Pidgeot. I didn't really calculate if this would kill or not. Like I should have gone Tyranitar, I feel, but I do, and I live on 1%, which like I guess expert EVs, and then get back to full. I expect him to switch out, so but I just click Hurricane because he doesn't really have a resist at this point. He goes Raikou. I know I'm faster, so I just click Roost. I get lucky with the confusion as he hits himself, so that means my Bird Jesus stays at full. The next Hurricane wouldn't kill because of the, like, I would need either like a max roll or a crit, so I just decide to sub in case he goes for Thunderbolt. He makes a really good play and goes for Volt Switch, breaking my sub, getting momentum, and he can freely go into Kyurem here, I feel, like, because this thing is not gonna die from from this health from Hurricane. So I decide to just sack off Vikavolt here. I couldn't go Flourishes, just in case he went for Icicle Spear and got like 5 hits, which would put me in a tough spot. So I just decided to sack Wickerbolt here. And just to see what he was like going for, he goes for Icicle Spear. I go for Tyranitar because I should be able to take any hit from this. And go for Bandit Crunch again as the Hitmontop does come in. I do another 26% and like 6% Sand, so I think this is in range of an Excadrill Earthquake. So I just need to get some more chip on the Palisand, and then Excadrill is looking really good. I switch out again into Florges as he goes for Toxic again, which is a good play. Here I can just click, I believe I clicked Aromatherapy just to get rid of the Toxics. Yeah, expecting the Venusaur switch. Which again, I don't think was the best play because I knew the Venusaur was coming in, so I should have clicked the Wish and then gone into Tyranitar to heal it up. Yeah, so that wasn't not my best play for sure. I go Tyranitar now on this predicted Sludge Bomb as he does 12%. I think Giga Drain was like a roll to kill here, so I just decided to stay in to get Crunch on this for Excadrill. He goes for Giga Drain and unfortunately kills us, which is really bad as that was the turn Sand ended as well, so I really didn't position that well. And now I lost speed control for the rest of the game, and Kyurem is looking pretty dangerous. Yeah, I decided to go Bird Jesus here again just to get a free Hurricane off. He goes Raikou and dies to the poison, which is fine. He goes Kyurem here. Here I stay in to get to scout for the set because I don't know if this is Scarf or not. I think I clicked Hurricane, but he reveals to be Scarf and Icicle Spear kills me. But I go into Florges here. He goes Mega Venusaur again. I click Wish. I believe I protect just so I'm full, so that because I know it's Scarf Kyurem, that I need to be healthy to beat it. Here I make I just go Excadrill hoping he goes for Sludge Bomb so I can probably SD up and break it, but he makes a really good play and goes for Synthesis to get back to full. So now this can kind of check Excadrill as well, which is really annoying. I click Sword Stance because I know he can't 2-hit KO me. He goes Giga Drain, which actually does a lot of damage, which is really annoying. So I just click Earthquake, which was my strongest move. Clicks Giga Drain again and gets back to half, which is really annoying. Here I just clicked Iron Head in case like, yeah, I don't know why I clicked Iron Head. I should have just clicked Earthquake again, honestly. But I clicked Iron Head, it still got the kill on everything, which was nice. He goes Kyurem Black. He's Scarf, so he would kill me. And I can switch into Florges and take 2 just in case if he gets 5 hits twice. I go Florges again as he goes Venusaur. Here I pull an aggressive double. At this point in the game I was so behind that I needed to make like an aggressive play to get back into it. And the only way I could heal up my Latios was by making this play. Now here he wouldn't want to give me his Venusaur because I believe if he gives me his Venusaur, I think my Florges wins versus the other 3, which is Palisand, Kyurem, and Hitmontop. So he needs to keep this alive so that he can beat Florges. So this had to come in, and yeah, so then I go into Lati to get my Roost off so I can fire off a Draco. As he does go Palisand now with Drill gone. He doesn't really have a need for this. I finally click my Draco here, expecting that to kill, but I miss. And he goes for Shadow Ball and kills. And that is GG because Florges can actually beat the Mega Venusaur because I don't have Psychic. And if his Kyurem has Iron Head, he could kill that as well with like flinches and stuff. I also only have 7 PP on Aromatherapy, so like, yeah, like there's no way for Florges to beat all 4. Even if the Draco hit, I don't think from this point I would win just because Kyurem comes in, clicks Icicle Spear. Depending on the rolls, it might be a 2-hit KO Florges. So yeah, and then every time it would be like, as long as he kept kept his Venusaur and Kyurem alive, I feel like he won, and he had enough sacks to do that, I feel. Because every time I go into Lottie, it's a risky switch, because it would be a 50-50 between him going for Synthesis or Sludge Bomb. So yeah, that's unfortunately our week 1 battle. I definitely did not play this really well. I was definitely tilted when he stayed in with Palossand. Like, I was really surprised he was willing to give me his Excadrill answer just to get Shadow Ball off when he had a pretty safe sack in Metagross, which would scout for Specs or Life Orb. Like, at that point, he didn't know if I was Specs or not, and a Specs Draco would have killed Palossand, and then he didn't have an Excadrill check anymore. So yeah, I don't agree with that play, but I guess it worked out for him. After that though, I definitely was still had ways of winning the battle if I played my Florges and Tyranitar and Excadrill really well. But I was in tilt and didn't wish up my Tyranitar and ended up sacking it and lost Sand and Speed Control, and at that point it was always an uphill battle to beat Scarf Kyurem. So yeah, unfortunate loss week 1, but hopefully I'll come back stronger next week when we face Austin Aces and coached by a Lunatic. Until then, see you guys and have a nice day. Peace.